Hi, this is Peter Giannetti of Homepage News, and welcome to another episode of Rapid Fire with Circana. I'm joined again by Joe Derochowski, Vice President and Home Industry Advisor for market analytics company Circana. In this episode of Rapid Fire, Joe will reveal how retail pricing is factoring into consumer home and housewares purchase choices. If you're ready to go, Joe, let's get started.
Let's go.
All right, our first question, simple one. Are price points increasing or decreasing for housewares?
Well, bottom line, prices are decreasing. We see across all general merchandise over the past 13 and 4 weeks that prices are down 2%. And for housewares and home and small appliances, they're down 1%. We continue to see a little bit more of a decline the past really few weeks. But there are some areas where we're starting to see maybe a deceleration or decreasing just at a less rate, like in kitchen electrics. But overall, prices have continued to decline.
Okay, our second question. What are some of the retail sales dynamics by pricing segment? For instance, opening, mid-tier, upper price points.
Well, it's kind of mixed and across with all the pricing there. We see categories like kitchen electrics and housewares where it's more the opening price points or those closer to the opening price points where we see the growth and gaining share. But if we look at the home environment, it tends to be more the mid price points that are gaining share. Or if we look at personal care, it's the higher price points. If we look at categories that have passion behind them, think espresso makers, you see price points all across the board growing depending on what we're looking at. So I think a big part of it is a little bit of mix, B, how important it is to consumer, and C, if there are innovations and things that are at play.
Okay, our final question. What factors are going to impact consumer pricing in housewares going forward?
Well, part of it is going to be economic. I mean, as we see consumers' credit card debt is higher, we see some reaction to the student loans, we see home costs increasing and food costs increasing, but we also have the advantage where we're 4 times cheaper than going out to a restaurant. We're hitting replacement phases. We're clearly seeing innovation being rewarded. When there's innovation that solves a consumer need, that consumers are willing to pay for it. So there's a lot of variables at play. I kind of like, before the pandemic, I always like to look at what's going on with food service because there's a great insight into consumer behavior. And I think we're back at that stage. We're far enough away from the pandemic to be able to really see what the consumer says through food service. And when we see the food service traffic is down, in part because, as we mentioned, with pricing. But the other part is when we do go out to eat, we're not afraid to spend a little bit. We're not afraid to indulge ourselves a little bit. And so I think it's the same thing as it comes to pricing. Like, yes, we're going to look for deals and things that are that nature. But if it's important, we're not afraid to provide a little bit of indulgence for us. We are now at the stage of adulting.
Well, that's an interesting point of view, Joe. And once again, you've given us a lot to think about as this industry heads into the all-important back half of 2024. Thanks again to Circana's Joe Derochowski for his data-backed insights on key retail sales trends and developments in home and housewares. For Homepage News, I'm Peter Giannetti, and we'll see you next time on Rapid Fire.